Well, first of all, the struggling is not necessary. The struggling is not necessary to be who we are because we already are who we are. So your teachers, who I know are all great beings, that you see, they only knew what other people had shared with them about what it is to wake up, about how to wake up. So that's all they knew. And then it's very likely once they woke up through doing those things, they attributed waking up to the things that they had done. So are you seeing in this what I'm saying? However, throughout all of time, as I'm sharing with you, where the most people have awakened, millions of people have awakened, millions of people who have awakened, it's all been through natural rest, this natural rest in the immediacy of perception. And it's always come about in the same way as it did with me, as it did in a very natural way with me. What I was amazed to find out is this, that it happened so naturally here as me, that where I realized who I have always been and the whole process that went on within me, it's exactly the same as this tradition that's been handed down for 17,000 years. And it's so simple and straightforward. Well, let me tell you, first of all, why I inquired into what has gone on in human history. First of all, I looked at everything. I looked at every major tradition and I looked at every minor tradition, things that are entirely esoteric and things that are more openly available. And I was inquiring for two reasons. One, I wanted to see what other human beings had described what I had so definitively experienced. I wanted to see who had described that and who had described that exactly as I had experienced it. And then I also wanted to see if there was anything anywhere that was a direct message that really enlivened this in people. And so the only thing that I found that specifically described the realization that had occurred for me was Dzogchen, the pinnacle teaching of Buddhism, the pinnacle teaching of Tibetan Buddhism. And Dzogchen came about through Buddhism coming from India to Tibet, where it married Bonpo, the native tradition of Tibet, which is 17,000 years old. And these practices together brought forth the direct mind perception teachings of Adi Yoga that are almost impossible to get. But just as recently as the last century, a Lama who we only know he was born in 1920, and Lungtril Rinpoche, hundreds of thousands of people awakened with him, just with one Lama. So you see, this is really important for us to know, because when we hear something like that, we know it's possible for us. It's possible for us. And we also know that whatever the instruction and key points that were given to those people, that they can awaken us too. So you see, these are very important things to know. These are very important things to know. First, we know, well, wow, it could happen to so many people, happen for so many people. It must be possible for me too. Or, look at Candice, she was in Denny's. Or look at the other people in the Great Freedom Community, so bright, so free, so warm, so giving, so connected to everything at all in a natural human way. It's so important, it's so very important. So that was the only one I found that directly described my own experience. Both the initial realization and everything that occurred within that realization. So first of all, the initial realization was realizing that all points of view, no matter what they are, that they have the common basis or underlying foundation of relief. But I didn't call it anything. I felt and sensed total relief. That was it. I felt and sensed total relief. And then based on that, everything else unfolded. Based on that, there was a choice. I didn't even know what was making the choice, and I didn't care. I wasn't, who's the chooser, all this other nonsense, it just was so evident as the essence of my being. To intellectually speculate about what neither has a chooser or doesn't, it's just more intellectual speculation. So what I can say is that each human being, no matter who they are, is self-knowing awareness. And when the light switch of self-knowing awareness is realized to be oneself, it illuminates everything. Just like if I turn on that lamp in the room at night, it lights up not only the room, but itself. So when that choice is made for each of us, it's self-knowing awareness choosing itself. You can call it anything, God choosing God, the absolute choosing the absolute, the divine mother choosing the divine mother. Doesn't matter what you call it, great spirit choosing great spirit. We can name it anything we want to, but our direct experience of any of those things is awareness. It's awareness as that label, whatever it is. So the commonality is that awareness. And when there is rest, is that the relief of that, the complete relief of that is the essence of every perception, then that relief gradually increases in a very natural way, more and more. No, I didn't attend courses or anything like that, but I have had the honor to meet a number of very great beings. When I realized who I have always been, it just seems so simple to me. I just wanted to share it with everyone in a simple way that everyone could understand, but that wasn't oversimplified. In other words, that didn't leave anything out. And I just knew that it was so important for everyone everywhere to share this in a way that's totally simple and straightforward. That really shows its true magnificence. So, I was looking to see if anything like that was existing, but at the same time, I was meeting with people and sharing with them. And as I did, then over time, the Great Freedom teaching became more formal. As more people came, the teaching became more formal in terms of a written teaching. But the process, so to speak, has always been the same. It's unerringly simple. Well, really, when we look into it, even with elementary discernment or discrimination, we have to see that what we already are is totally directly accessible. How could what we already are be so totally inaccessible that it would require endless doing in order to get it? So, just because this hasn't been so directly possible throughout humankind for maybe millions of years, who knows, there's no reason whatsoever that it can't be directly accessible right now. And what I can tell you is that it is directly accessible right now. It's fully alive and free, naturally free, as it already is. But, we have to, first of all, if we want to have faith about something, we have to have faith that that's the case. We have to have faith that we already are free, that there's nothing to attain or achieve, that we need to gradually familiarize ourselves or suddenly familiarize ourselves, it matter not, with the reality of what we are. So we have to have faith, first of all, that this is true for everyone on earth. Not just, and when we see that it's true for everyone on earth, we know that includes us. It includes us. So this is very important. We have to have faith that that's the case. And if we have lots of ideas that we've accumulated about what it takes to wake up, then we have to rest as that point of view when it comes up. When the point of view, I'm not awake, comes up, we rest naturally as the essence of that. That's the most harmful point of view we can have in this circumstance, to continually think I'm not awake and I need to get awake. So when that one comes up, we most importantly must rest naturally. When the point of view comes up that we have to be a better person or a pure person to be awake, then we have to rest naturally as the original purity of that thought, of that point of view. Everyone, no matter who they are, already is pure. There's never been anyone who is not pure. Everyone, no matter who they are, is purer than pure. Purer than pure from the beginningless beginning. Rather than being subject to original sin, we're subject to original purity. We're subject to original purity. That's what we're really subject to. But you see, we have to know that about ourselves and have complete faith in it. If we continue, most of the people here are Westerners, I think, if we continue to be tweaked, twisted, and twinged by this notion of original sin that is so pervasive in our culture, to which we then may have added reincarnation and karma, we have to rest naturally when all those notions come up. We have to find that which is pure about karma, that which is pure about reincarnation. All of your teachers, whoever they may have been in this room, have had to come to those same conclusions in order to realize the reality of what they are, even if they were in a tradition where they dare not speak about it. Any great being has had to come to that conclusion. Some great beings have talked openly about that. The Buddha has talked openly about that, that ultimately there is no reincarnation. There is no sin. So when we have faith in ourselves being what we really are, then when these very strong spiritual, so to speak, points of view come up that have made us feel that we're not pure or that we need to be fixed, we especially need to rest naturally. I had all this come up for myself, Well, what am I doing? What am I doing? I'm not praying to God. I'm resting natural, because praying to God wasn't helping me at the time, I'm resting naturally as God. That's what I found out. When I realized who I'd always been, everything was just a landscape of perfect love and nothing else. And I knew what I'd been praying to, I am, and everyone is. Everyone is. So we have to absolutely uphold ourselves as that to begin with. We must uphold ourselves as that. If we have any points of view that come up that say otherwise, we need to just rest. We need to be totally at ease with those and understand how much suffering these points of view have caused us. To beat ourselves, flog ourselves endlessly, lie on a bed of nails about all these things, that these are mental concepts we've adopted from others, that we're original sinners, we're bad, we're born bad. We're karmically bound. We're bound by this, that, and the other thing. All actions are timelessly free, no matter what they are. But if we can uphold ourselves as that and rest as all of these points of view, spiritual and non-spiritual, arise, then it will be very difficult for us to come to an experience of what we are that is 24/7. We're subject to all these powerful, powerful points of view of ourselves, our families, our communities, our cultures. But, there's one thing about human beings that's true for all human beings, no matter what the whirlwind of point of view, the solar winds of point of view that are whipping around as the dynamic energy of awareness. There's one thing we can say that is true about everyone, and that is that we are aware. So why not put our faith in that? Put our faith definitively and conclusively in that. We can say that about ourselves. I am aware, and I'm going to rest as awareness. And as I rest as awareness, I'm going to have absolute faith that as I rest as awareness, I will realize who I am and I will understand everything. I will understand everything about everything I've ever been through in my life. So you see, we have to uphold ourselves as our true identity, or we don't have a snowball's chance in hell, so to speak, of realizing who we are. You see, When we learn that we're karmically bound, subject to reincarnation, subject to original sin, we learn that we're a piece of trash. That's basically what we learn. We're a piece of trash because we all know that we have negative points of view. We have all kinds of negative thoughts that no matter what kind of sadhana we do, no matter how much sadhana, and if service is one of those forms of sadhana, no matter how much we do, we still have negative thoughts and negative emotional states. And that's just the way awareness is. There are countless, ceaseless, and unpredictable points of view. And they're countless and ceaseless. Countless, that means beyond all these grand numbers people are coming up with these days. Beyond any of those. These points of view are countless and ceaseless. And, we have to come to the direct experience that all these points of view that we have, whether they're positive, negative, or neutral, all of our actions, all of our thoughts, all of our emotional states, that every single one of them is originally pure from the beginningless beginning. This is the only hope we have of being totally free. You see, non-duality is a single blissful expanse of equalness, a single loving expanse in which there has never occurred duality. That means it's an expanse of total and completely perfect love, and it's never been anything else. You see, it's never been anything else. It never was a point of view. It never was even dynamic energy. So you see, we have to acknowledge ourselves as that and stop reinforcing ourselves as all our points of view. It's just like when you have a precious little child. At least this is the way it was with my own precious little children. I could see from the beginning that if I reinforced the negative things about them, they'd become that. They'd become that. But if I reinforced what I could see about them, which was so obvious that they're so innocent, beautiful, all love, all free, that if I reinforced that, they'd be that. So that was my sadhana, having a couple kids when I was 20 and 22 years old. There's a sadhana for you. And seeing them as they really are rather than as a bunch of crap or a piece of trash that needs to be tamed into some kind of thing that hopefully may be good at some point. All I said is, wow, you're amazing. You're so amazing. You're so incredibly amazing. And they are amazing. They're all grown up now. They're still amazing. But so, you see, this is such a simple human matter. That's what I'm trying to emphasize here. It's just like the precious care we take with a child, someone so innocent, someone so free. We're already free. That freedom and innocence of our childhood, it's never gone anywhere. It didn't depart. We didn't leave it back there in infancy or toddlerhood. It's still here. It's still here. That's the reality of what we are. So just as with a little child, gently, tenderly, every single moment, we need to rest and we need to just say, oh, be who you are. Be who you are, precious little one. Forget about all these other things you've heard about what you need to do and how you need to fix yourself up or be a better, beautiful somebody, that you'll never reach to achieve. Just know that you already are that. You already are that. This we need to say to ourselves, We need to say to ourselves that we need to say, well, no matter what I've thought before, felt before, known before, I'm going to taste myself as I am. And I'm going to do everything that I can to support myself in being that. In the same way that you'd give everything conceivable to a little infant or child that you love, you'd want to give them absolutely everything. So in the same way, you give that to yourself. You just give that to yourself. Even though no one ever gave it to you, well, it's being given to you now. Now you know that. So, now it's up to each of us. We just have to cradle ourselves. We're not taskmasters. Rest is awareness. Rest is awareness. Rest is awareness. This is what we've been doing. We're enjoying the ease of what we are. Just the ease of what we are. Oh, precious little one, I've ignored you all this time. I've ignored you all this time. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Now I see you. I see who you are, and I'm going to acknowledge you all the time. And if I don't, remind me, please. It's not rocket science. We don't need to have a degree in theoretical physics or some obscure area of religious studies. It's a simple human matter. We just need to really come to terms with who we are.